All right, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. First of all, I want to thank Frank and the team for allowing us to speak to you today. This is a very exciting day for us. We have a bunch of content to work through, but also to make an announcement later on by the team. Like Frank said, my name is Antonio Neri. I'm the Senior Vice President General Manager. I'm responsible for the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Group, which actually is composed by server, storage, networking, converged infrastructure, converged management. And it is a business that's growing. And we are excited to be here today to tell our story around what we're doing around open infrastructure. This is an exciting time because change is constant. And obviously, the trends of cloud, mobility, big data are driving a significant amount of demand. But the consumption models are changing too. It's all about delivering services. Services that are able to drive profitable growth. And when you think about that, agility, speed, efficiency, be able to meet those demands in a very quick turnaround is foundational for those service providers to be successful in the market. We are committed to provide infrastructure to those service providers to be able to deliver against those business objectives. And the way we're going to do it is by giving customer choice. Ultimately, it's all about choice. And obviously, giving them an infrastructure that can be tailored to a specific app is foundational going forward. Because now it's all about an application that is able to deliver services in minutes, not days, weeks, and months. We are really focused on delivering business outcomes. Technology is an enabler of business outcomes. I personally speak to a lot of customers every day. In fact, we serve pretty much every service provider on the planet. Remember, Hewlett-Packard has been a leading IT provider of solutions. And we talk about now the next generation of solutions around delivering a new style of business through a new style of IT. And when we talk to those customers, the feedback is remarkable, consistent. I need to do it quicker. I need to have flexibility to scale. I need to be able to reduce cost. I need to be able to match my cost to the revenue. And this is where time to market is foundational for those customers. And ultimately, they need to differentiate through service levels, experiences, and new business model innovation. At the end of the day, it's delivering against those business outcomes. Open infrastructure is foundational going forward because ultimately you have to be able to provide the scale at the pace the customers need. It has to be based on open principles. It has to basically comprehend basic features. And it has to basically be designed with the software resiliency. Hewlett-Packard has been a foundational member in the open standard community. Think about all the things we have done in the history of HP, where we actually were a driving force of adopting open standards. HP made a huge commitment on our strategy to adopt open source, OpenStack, Cloud Foundry as a way to go and deliver the next generation of cloud services. But ultimately, you need to do it in a way that gives you the flexibility for those customers to develop on top of that infrastructure. And this is why it's important that we follow the open infrastructure design principles. We have a vision of continued innovation through collaboration. And you think about this chart, think about the amount of collaboration we are driving in the community, starting at the bottom with collaboration like the Open Compute Foundation here, basically designing the next generation of data center infrastructure, where it is also on the cloud side with our HP Helion, with the Cloud Foundry and the OpenStack, or whether it is continue to develop application for the new mobile world, cloud native, while bridging the traditional IT to the new style of IT. So you should have a complete understanding that HP will continue to make contribution and continue to develop based on open standards and continue to be a driving force to create an ecosystem for our customers to deliver against their business objectives at the scale, at the cost, with the flexibility that they need. HP has a history of being the first in many things. Go back in history. HP was the first one to introduce the first x86 server. It was the first one to introduce the first rack scale server. It was the first one to introduce a bladed infrastructure in 2006. It was the first one to deliver a software-defined server with a moonshot architecture. It was the first one to bring high-performance computing to an enterprise level through a rack scale type of architecture. We think about not the server, we think about the compute, and we think about business outcomes. And today, we will announce the open infrastructure for the next generation of data center for the customers that need that level of scale and efficiency. But to speak about that, actually, I would like to invite Alain Andreoli and Fu-Ming Fu. Alain Andreoli is our Senior Vice President General Manager for HP Servers, and Fu-Ming Fu is our great partner at Foxconn Technologies. And if you recall, a year or so ago, we formed a joint venture with them to develop this new open infrastructure. And today, I'm actually very, very excited that these two teams are coming together to announce the next generation product. So, Alain and Fu. This one? Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is Fu-Ming from Foxconn.
This is Alain from HP.
We are family. We are delighted today to have the chance of introducing the HP Open Infrastructure family. Let me start from where Antonio finished. Remember the suite of innovations of HP. We are announcing today an industry-changing event, us going with an all-new family for open infrastructure. It's not a small thing. If you look at this slide, which shows how the market is evolving, the scale-out compute architecture is growing very fast. And we believe that in the next 3 years, it's probably going to become the majority of the market. The service providers and HPC altogether are driving growth and driving innovation and open standards in the overall market. So we have taken this very, very seriously, and we have looked at the ingredients, the dimensions that are foundational to be successful in that space for the customers that develop solutions in this area, of which the business outcomes are driving the industry. It has to be open design because these workloads are really driven around open standards, starting from software up to the hardware. And therefore, this family is going to be purpose-built for cloud workloads. Density has got to be the driving factor of the performance. The packaging is essential, and it's all around ultra-performance, ultra-density. And it's all about scale. Scalability is essential. We're talking about server farms at service providers, which can be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of servers as we move forward and the role of the cloud expands in the whole spectrum. So scalability is absolutely essential. And finally, cost. And when you talk about cost, you talk about supply chain. It's the end-to-end experience from the type of products that you develop to the way you engineer them to the type of components that you select to be part of this suite and how efficiently you can manufacture them, and finally you service them worldwide. We at HP felt that for this new hyperscale revolution, we didn't have all the necessary competencies to be totally best in class, to build an industry-changing event, to take the industry to the next level of open standards. And we felt that we had to partner with Foxconn. So Fu is going to tell us about the history of us becoming a family for hyperscale and open compute.
Yes. When it comes to true partnership, I think both HP and Foxconn have been working for more than 30 years. And it's just like dating for more than 30 years. So by entering JV, it's like getting married. Now, so we are very excited, for the HP Foxconn JV because it's an innovative model to get both great companies and both powerhouses together and in the cloud enterprise field and to create the value of 1 + 1 = 11. So if you look at the cloud solution designed for hyperscale workload, both HP and Foxconn, the best. And when you look at the global delivery at scale, both companies are the largest. And the global sales, service, and support, again, the best. So combine the global supply chain capability of HP and Foxconn is the best and the largest. So with that, that is the value that we'd like to bring it to the customers. Alain?
So Fu, I heard you talking about our marriage. We've been married for 9 months now. What happens next?
Well, we just need to have more babies.
Babies! So maybe we have. I can hear a baby here. Can you hear? Can you hear? Let's have a look.
Yes. So this is our first baby.
Our first baby.
And this is the HP Cloud Line, the CL 7100 for the Open Rack.
This is the first one of a long lineage, and we are bringing on stage John Gromala, who is the director of this cloud line, product line, who is going to tell you more about it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Alain. Thank you, Fu. We're very happy to actually announce our cloud line set of products here today at Open Compute. You got a quick peek at our product line here to start off with, but today I'll go through the full breadth of the products that we're going to be announcing. I'm going to go through the underlying capabilities and value proposition that we're going to deliver with that line of platforms. And we'll get into details on the customers and the partners that we've already started engaging with on this new line. So very excited to do that. Let's first take a look at the overall breadth of the product line that we have and are delivering. So there was a color coding in the line of platforms that you saw from Alain and Fu. The OCP green color of those top 2 platforms actually align with our rack scale set of offerings that we're delivering. So these are platforms that have a full infrastructure, a full set of power and cooling integrated at the rack level, our ability to deliver those at very large scale as well. We have 2 models of those, as you saw. First, the Cloudline CL7100 that is designed in a open rack style. And we also have the Cloudline CL7300, which is designed in a open cloud server style. So those are our first 2 offerings within this rack scale line of platforms. We'll continue to evolve and grow that over time. In addition, that center gray area is a future look at an additional line of platforms that we'll also go ahead and announce. It's a set of multi-node platforms that'll have 1-socket servers, systems on a chip, and even some 2-socket servers where we'll have a single chassis that holds multiple of those units. That's really designed for hosting and areas where people want simple deployment but a larger number of nodes. Again, no specific details on those, but we will be announcing those in the future. Actually, before I go forward, back to the rack scale systems, availability of those is actually real exciting to have those available in the second half of this year. In the 3rd calendar quarter, we'll be announcing and actually shipping proof of concept quantities for those platforms so people can start doing evaluations, doing rollouts of those, and doing qualifications of those platforms. And then in the 4th quarter, we want to look at volume deployments of those systems overall. So great opportunity where people want to get information on those now to start doing those deployments very quickly here in just a few months. All right, lastly, as you saw on the slide that Alain and Fu did, we have a set of, in blue, a set of basic bare iron, as we call it, rack servers. These are a whole new level of design for us in terms of the way that we create these systems. There are 3 of these rack servers that are being deployed. We have 2 1U servers and a single 2U server. We have a pair of those called the 2100 and 2200, a 1U and a 2U. Again, 2 socket servers with the typical 16 DIMM configurations that people deploy. Lastly, and we thought it was real important for us to go ahead and try and drive an even more aggressive price point for 2 socket servers. So in addition, we're also announcing the Cloudline 1100. This is a 2 socket server with the absolute lowest set of features we could put in that system, with just 8 DIMMs, 2 drives. People who want to deploy a very, very, very simple web server at a very low cost, we have that offering as well. Again, these are the first set of rack servers that we've got available. We'll build on those from there. Last note here on those rack servers, it is notable that we have a leveraged technology from Open Compute that's actually used in those. The OCP mezzanine is actually used in those designs. So what you're used to in terms of OCP mezzanines now is available in those rack servers on how they're deployed. So aside from the OCP mezzanine, there's a lot of other differences in capabilities on how we put together Cloudline. You know, this is a noticeably different product line than what we've announced and what we've been shipping for 20 plus years on the ProLiant side of the world. We wanted to create that different price point in terms of capabilities, and here's an overview of what are the underlying capabilities, what is the value proposition that we targeted when we looked at Cloudline. First, people really wanted something that was delivered at a very large scale. Whether it's deployment, delivery, whether it's manageability, people need the confidence that they can deploy these at the tens of thousands, and if they need hundreds of thousands. It doesn't mean that you have to deploy them at that level, but you can have the confidence to know that that's actually the level that we did that testing in terms of how those systems were created and how they were designed. The single biggest change in terms of how HP has approached these is this central area where we're designing this based on open design principles. In a very different way from ProLiant, where we focus on an end-to-end assurance of how we're delivering capabilities of the platform. On the ProLiant side, from the BIOS all the way up to the manageability, every one of those systems is managed very tightly in how they're put together. Here on the Cloudline side, we focus on open capabilities of every one of those designs, whether it's the management enablement that we do, all of the manageability, again, from IPMI up to Puppet and Chef support or OpenStack support. All of those capabilities are an integral part of how we roll those systems out. Big departure is also the BIOS manageability that we have inside those systems. You're going to get industry spec BIOS. You're going to get industry spec commodities and how that's rolled out. You're going to see firmware from whatever hard drive vendor or memory vendor that you happen to have and deploy, so that you've got the flexibility to integrate those at this system level. Very, very important distinction, because when people want to manage at this scale, they want the ability to go ahead and have commonality across their vendors to better manage that and manage those efficiencies at the data center level. Very important for how that comes together. Very important also in a second of how we'll talk about the difference of our supply chain making a difference on those commodities as well. All of these come together to create a new cost-focused design, a different feature set, which we can drive down at lower costs. You know, that feature set is really based on what we call a software resilient architecture. The software itself is where the availability is managed in these infrastructures. Because of that, I don't need as many redundant power supplies, as many redundancy features. A lot of those other capabilities don't have to be put within that system, and I can create systems that can go down at a lower price point and meet those needs when deployed at that larger scale. What that ultimately drives is our ability to get an optimized supply chain. We can tap into that great supply chain capability of both HP and Foxconn to go ahead and deliver a whole different set of capabilities for a cost-focused infrastructure. So let's take a quick look at the combination of HP and Foxconn, what we can deliver in terms of what customers want. First, they get the trusted brand of HP, leader in servers for years and years. They get the great global supply chain of not only Hewlett-Packard, but also of Foxconn, leader in servers, plus the leader in overall IT manufacturing and design. You can get services that are as basic as you want. If you want just a 30-day warranty on things, we can absolutely provide that. If you want a full set of capabilities and support from HP Technology Services, you can do that as well. And then finally, we even have the ability for a lot of the larger customers who are deploying larger volume to create custom design if needed, linking back into a lot of those Foxconn engineers that are doing such a great job of designing these systems. So great end-to-end capability, great overall value proposition. You can see this is a very different thing than the ProLiant servers that we've been shipping. ProLiant, again, is the world's best enterprise server and will continue to be the world's best enterprise server. What we need and what we're delivering with Cloudline is a new value proposition very targeted at this cloud service set of offerings. With that, I'm happy to talk about the different partners that we've been working with. Again, a lot of customers are already deploying. Even though we're just here announcing right now these systems, we're already to the point where we have a lot of partnerships in flight. You can see a great list of those, including some customers who've been deploying these things. Happy to see those all come together. We're also happy that we've got quite a few others. I'll tell you, there's another half dozen to a dozen folks who we were working hard to get their logos up on this page. AMAX, a bunch of other companies that we've been talking with who are very close to getting things taken care of, and we'll have partnerships here very soon. All of these come with the benefits of the Open Compute project that we've got here, our participation at Open Compute, how this is enabled. It's how, as Antonio described, that we take that open infrastructure and drive innovation through collaboration, and this is ultimately how it all comes together. Very important difference on how we deliver this. We really took a basic view. If you see all of what we described, this is about how we change the business model of how we deliver these systems. We made a tangible choice to go ahead and partner to get that vertical integration with our partner Foxconn to make sure we could make bigger strides over time in delivering these systems. All important things, all critical to how we optimize this over time. All right, so I want to invite you to three things here on our next page. First, I want to invite you to go to our booth. You can see every one of these systems that we've shown you in detail. You can actually feel them, see them, how they're doing, get an early view at these systems, how they're there. Again, the rack servers that we talked about are available in the next 30 to 60 days. So if you want to even start doing evaluations for how you would order and deploy those, you can do that. Tomorrow we have a floor keynote where you can get additional specs and details on those systems as well. And of course, you can go to our website at hp.com/go/cloudline to get information. And finally, I want to invite all of you, and it's great, how often can someone invite 2,000 people to a happy hour to celebrate the announcement and birth of our new set of platforms as well? Please join us at 5 o'clock today. We're going to have a celebration and talk through all these new platforms, talk about this new server brand in terms of offering it. Again, it's the first time in a long time that we've had a new brand deployed like this and rolled out. So with that, we're done, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Open Compute, for all your efforts, and we'll move on as well to our next session. Thank you.